Hey, welcome to the Virgo channel. I just want to turn this up. I should have did this before. Turn volume up.
I've turned it up.
I don't know why it didn't sound like it was up before, but it was up. Anyway, I'm paranoid that whatever I record, it's not going to be recorded. Anxiety, traumas, right? When we go through experiences that unfold that didn't work out for us. It's again, that's what happened to me just right there. Technology tends to be very overstimulating for me. Not the fact of actually handling it, but the thought of it, the thought of having to master technology. I can get in my own way. Everyone has triggers. Everybody has wounds that create triggers. And behaviorisms come from triggers. So an example was just that. Oh, turn the volume up, but the volume was already up. Oh, I should have checked. It's again, where were you when you weren't checking? Well, I wasn't grounded. So again, a lot of times our trauma can create psychological reversals where we get in our own way. So welcome to the Virgo channel and welcome to your soul healing. Now, I do shadow healings for this channel, the Virgo channel, as well as my psychic soul healer channel. Now, I always look at the inner child wound between you and your person. I'll look at the wounds and the triggers, and again, the behaviorisms that come from those wounds. Why? Again, because there's such a bigger scope to things when we are looking at our situation from a healing perspective. A lot of times when we have gone through experiences that have given us like a bad feeling about ourselves, we wind up detaching from ourselves, right? Again, obviously, experiences that we perceive that we're limited or lacking or not good enough create fear, which creates detachment and dissociation disorder. So when we get stuck in anxiety and depression, those are manifestations of being spiritually out of balance. When we have shadows, we have spiritual blocks, and these wounds, again, they play out as experiences, karmic experiences. Karmic experiences that hopefully broaden your perception of whatever it was situation that you were dealing with that created the block. So, for an example, if you are in a relationship with someone that always triggers you, understand a lot of times those triggers didn't just happen from that person. They were created from your inner child experiences. So I always look at the inner child. I look at the past life. I look at the wounds. I look at the hidden truths, because a lot of times person has wounds, they get in their own way, they their behaviorisms are completely out of alignment with what they're trying to create. So if they're trying to create a good relationship and love, they're actually doing things that are, propelling that, like, again, pushing what they want away from themselves. So integration is all about understanding what the wound is, and then understanding what we need to do in order to see ourselves whole, to see ourselves with that unconditional love, because you are just energy, and your energy is the vibration of love. So I always like to do a little channel before every reading, because again, this is more than just doing readings. This is about your healing journey. It's about understanding that you're a spiritual being, and that you create your life through consciousness, that you again are just an expression of love. So every single act that you have is karmic, and there's a chain reaction to it. So we wouldn't be aware a lot of times of our karma unless, again, we wound up having certain emotions and living experiences that made us feel like not good enough, not worthy, because it makes us look to see why is that eventually, like the spirit part of self, which is God part of self, doesn't want to stay in that level of consciousness because we're here in physical form to learn and to manifest. You're learning that you're not separate from this consciousness, which is unconditional love, which is the universe, the energy of the universe, which is God consciousness. And that's again when we're coming from a place of unconditional love and joy and passion and all the energies that are at a high vibration. And when I'm talking passion, I'm talking about the passion for life. Um, Passion within another person could be good, but it all could obviously also be bad. If the relationship is just based on passion, well, it's here for a good time, not a long time. So it tends to be out of balance. So again, the passion that comes mainly from you co-creating with spirit. So understanding again that you're a spiritual being having human experiences, your karma are the experiences that, again, from all your actions, but sometimes we live in experiences that are imbalance that create these blocks that keep us stuck in limitation, which again make us feel like we are not deserving of love, really, because money really has no energy, but we can associate it with, protection. We can associate it with stability. And a lot of people associate stability with love. So, without further ado, Virgo, let's look and see what is the past life energy that you and your person incarnated into this world with. Again, a lot of times it was, all of the times, our reality is based on the experiences that we live. Again, the perceptions of those realities that we live. And so, again, our behaviorisms come from those realities, those perceptions, whether they're right or wrong. That's why I said it that way, because everyone's truth might be different from looking at the same situation. Perception is everything. So we want to see what was the past life. Okay, Atlantis. So again, this is a very spiritual connection. Because Atlantis is almost like a magical time, right? It's a time, land before time, where indigo children lived and crystal children lived, and the whole planet is psychic and it's very healing. And again, they plant medicine and everything was, done in alignment with the laws of the universe, and that we've grown away from that. So I believe you're still connected to this person that reminds you of that time. Or again, them being connected to you, Virgo, is bringing them back to that time, like a remembrance. And this is not that type of person. This person is not a right brain creative person that sees it like, oh, Atlantis, they wouldn't even, they're more, again, left brain, which is logical, linear, fact, business person. So again, there's a very unique connection that's awakening. That's awakening this person. I want to pull one more. Just see, again, karmic relationship. So again, when we see a karmic soulmate, it means that there were lessons that weren't learned in that past lifetime. And so when we go through experiences, again, they create perceptions about ourselves, the world, but understand you're looking at your situation through a distorted perception when you are looking at the situation from a place of disempowerment, from a place of fear. And so Atlantis, again, was very, very old and very spiritual time. And I feel like this karmic relationship, this person's coming back into your life because they've gotten away from, again, that right brain, this would be my right brain, that way of thinking. They're thinking more, again, left brain, which is a survival mode. Now, when we see Atlantis, I always feel like it's also like a twin flame soul mate relationship because, again, these soulmate past life karmic relationships live many, many lifetimes. They agree to live many, come back into each other's lives in every single lifetime to learn the lessons from the previous lifetime that they didn't learn. And so, again, this Atlantis is very spiritual. It's the most spiritual. So, shows that there's a lot of very, very deep wounds because the more spiritual, a lot of times, the journey for the person, it's because the healing. And so when we're seeing Atlantis and karmic relationships, we're also seeing ancestral karma. So both parties inherited family karma that created the same wound. So the wound does not, now this doesn't mean that the behaviorism's the same. It means that the wound is the same. So, and so this, again, two people, you and this person have been incarnated. So there's soul recognition. And there's also a sense of, I'm feeling like respect for the differences. So it's a very unique relationship because, again, the person that I'm feeling like you're connected to is not a highly sensitive person in the way that they're very emotional. They're a highly sensitive person where they like structure, they like organization. They might, again, be control freak. They're very business oriented. They're strategic. Where here you're intuitive, you're creative, you're spiritual, and here's this intense connection that's transcends all time and space when we have soul recognition with someone else. Why do we have that? Well, we have those soulmate relationships to learn, and karma is that you're learning. So we tend to associate karma with bad. But does it necessarily mean bad? No, you could, again, wind up with a karmic mate that draws out all your gifts that you were not even aware that you had. Makes you aware of attributes that you don't have, characteristics that you don't have. A lot of times it also brings out our shadow, which is, again, what we're going to heal. Because, again, we're going to look at the inner child. You have to look at the inner child healing in order to really know what those shadows are. Flow. It's good. So having trouble going with the flow. Again, like what I was saying about being very controlling. So you grew up with someone that was very controlling. So understand a lot of times when we don't feel strong within ourselves, we can tend to look for partners that we perceive are strong. And then what happens is there's an imbalance in the relationship because we should look at people like they're our equal, not that we need those people. And so understand people, if we will overcompensate, and if we don't know who we are and we're looking at ourselves like we have an imbalance, and then we try to seek out a relationship that we perceive that they're going to give us or teach us or show us something that's missing, we can tend to overgive this person, give them too much attention. And this person can, again, want to control, which would make it very difficult to go with the flow of life. So again, relationships are all about going with the flow through compromise a lot of times, through finding our balance, right? It's, again, that second chakra. So that comes through our individuality. That comes through our, who we perceive that we are, which comes through, again, what we love to do, our passions. It's all part of that same center. So when we see a karmic mate, It's again going to be associated with that second chakra, which is all about passion, because we wouldn't have that person have a soul recognition like, hey, I know you before, I feel you're so familiar, and I have this energy of unconditional love towards you. We wouldn't have that in automatic. That's what comes from a past life, and this is someone that is a very spiritual connection, which, yes, it does mean that time period, but really what tells us is like there's a lot of deep wounds between you and this person that are affecting your individuality, both your party's individuality, and it's who you perceive you are. Because when we can't go with the flow of life, where there's a sense of I'm fearful, and if I'm fearful, it's because I feel like there's something wrong. Now, if I feel like there's something wrong, then I feel like there's something wrong with me because I don't know how to handle it. So it becomes a block where really, again, the key is to learn how to balance yourself at first. If your person has a problem, and I would feel like you do too, again, you both have the same wound. So, karmic relationship, again, someone that's soul familiar, there's a big spiritual lesson here. The spiritual lesson, if I can go with the flow, I'm learning who I am. My passion isn't solely on this person. And why? Because again, if somebody's your full passion, then there's fear, because what happens if they're not around? What happens if things change? What happens? It becomes codependent. So we're not supposed to be codependent. We can't go with the flow when we're codependent. We're listening to somebody else. There's one person then that's, driving the bus, and the other person's going along with it. Usually the person that's actually driving the bus has a lot of fear, and they usually can't go with the flow. So again, which happens. So vulnerability. So again, feeling like I have to go along with the other person. So the person's coming from fear. They can't go with the flow. The relationships are actually, there's an unfoldment process. Life, there's an unfoldment process. We're not supposed to know everything in advance. So life is an unfoldment process where you're getting to know yourself and you're interacting with other people. And that is really how you're getting to know yourself on a deeper level. So being able to go with the flow means to be able to recognize when you get triggered, because there's lessons there, especially if I feel vulnerable. It means that I don't feel good enough. I don't feel strong. I don't feel, and this is really your wound, because again, you're connected to a karmic relationship. Karmic relationships a lot of times are opposite energy. And that's what I said. This person has opposite energy. The way that they think is different than you. They're very mental, logical, linear. It's again strategic. You're not. You're intuitive. You're creative. It's again very right brain. There's the flow of relationship means that I can be me, you can be you. We don't need to be codependent. I feel like this could be, again, a very codependent relationship. And the wound, again, would be feeling vulnerable, which is not strong within yourself, meaning that somehow unconsciously you're looking to rely on someone else, which unconsciously then we are vulnerable. And I wouldn't be surprised if I pulled out a more dominant energy now, which is time and attention. So I feel like, again, there's a sense of you not getting your time and attention. So again, this karmic connection that that there's such a deep spiritual connection. They're not actually here in the 3D. They're more in your mind. ESP is connection to the heart and mind. So actually, they actually are more in the 3D, I should say, than they're in the physical. They're not giving you the time or the attention, which is the wound that you have, that you didn't get the time or attention. And this person didn't get the time or attention either. So again, karmic relationships are, have the same wound, but they play out differently. So I would see this more as a second chakra imbalance. And the second chakra is all about who we perceive that we are and being able to go with the flow of life, because we're in the passion for life. Passion, flow, individuality are all words of the second chakra. So again, we are able to go with the flow of life and actually be vulnerable in a good way, where we're not like completely vulnerable, but we're vulnerable enough to be in a deep, intimate connection with someone, because we're not looking from a place of fear. Karmic relationships where two people think differently and one person's used to being like, again, vulnerable, one person shouldn't have all the power and the other person not have power. And you shouldn't be with someone that's afraid to not be vulnerable with you, because again, they didn't get the time and the attention that they needed. So how this would play out is you're in a relationship with someone that doesn't give you the time or the attention, but there is a spiritual connection. So it's again that almost spiritual lesson of unconditional love. But then there's also this sense of love is painful. Love, like, I don't get my needs met with love. That, like, it's a sense of abandonment. It's a sense of, so this is the inner child wound. And we need to see what that is in order to see what the shadow is. Because the shadow is going to let us know, like, what actually manifests in our behaviorism due to this core belief of I don't ever get enough time or attention. Like, I can't really go with the flow of life. I have to meld to your way. Or the person, again, feeling like I need to control everything in order to feel safe. I can't really go with the flow of life. I'm trying to control. So we can't really control anyone except for ourselves. And so really it's about giving the time and attention to yourself. That's how we reparent that inner child wound. But the shadow that's created when we don't heal by not giving ourselves the time and attention is blame. We can blame our parents. We're going to blame other people. We're going to blame, it's like my life is a shit and mess because of you. Like you're not really here for me. So karmic relationship comes back into your life to really teach you that it's not about blaming. It's easy to get caught up in blame though, because we could say, hey, I was on this path and you did this. But there are always signs before, like a relationship falls apart, signs before someone actually really betrays you. There are always signs. So, and blame, a lot of times too, we can be long out of the house that we grew up in, but still blaming our parents for what we're manifesting in life, because we're like, well, this is why it's broken. Like, because the logical linear mind wants to put blame somewhere because it's not going to take blame. It's going to say, well, I'm this way because of this. This is the end result because mind wants an end solution. It's not, hey, this is because I grew up into a karmic situation, into a home, and now I'm attracting again a karmic relationship from a past life. So this is a lesson, and I know that it's a lesson because it's a lesson from the past life, and then the family that I grew up in, and then the situation that's actually playing out all has the same karmic theme, which is I didn't get enough time or attention, like vulnerable. I can't be like vulnerable so that I can't really create an intimate connection with you. And it's like, I feel like in order to be in a relationship, I got to go like do what you want. And so it's then we look back and say, why is my relationships like this? Why am I not happy? We seek to put the blame on someone. That's again the logical analytical mind, because it's like can't find a solution. So I feel like that's where you're at, Virgo, a little bit with this person. Like, I can't with you because you, again, don't treat me the way that you're supposed to be treating me. And it's always like leaving you, like when we stub our toe in the same place, like over and over and over again, like if it's on a coffee table per se, eventually you want to take that coffee table and you want to smash it into pieces because it hurts. Well, then when we have a wound and it keeps telling us the same theme, it hurts after a while. It really makes us think that there's something wrong with us, and we detach from that aspect of ourselves, which is what creates the shadow to begin with. So again, the mind will automatically go into blame, and then knowledge, wisdom, and really asking to really look for the knowledge and the wisdom in the situation. That's how when instead of blame, really spirit saying is like there's knowledge, there's wisdom. When you integrate the spiritual wound, it turns into a gift. One more. Just one more. Hopelessness. So it's again, if I feel blame, then I'm actually not taking responsibility for the issue. And then there's a sense of, well, I can't do anything to fix it. There's a sense of not being grounded and not really trying to fix it, just staying in a place of, again, blame. And that's the block. I can't go with the flow of life because it needed to be this way. So I'm going to put the blame here because I can't figure out how to fix it. And so understand, I feel like you're connected to someone has a connection with you, but they're not with you right now, and they feel like they can't be with you right now, though they can be with you. They have to, again, change certain things within their life. They don't know how to do that. They have a very hard time going with the flow of life. Now, I don't know what it is. It could be just their mind. We'll see. We're going to look at the triggers, because we see what the wound is. Or that person feels like hopeless. They want to blame. They, again, like they're not taking responsibility. They're in avoidance. So let's see that even though if a person's avoiding, they still have triggers, and those triggers will still play out as behaviorisms or thought patterns. So we're going to take a look and see what is the trigger, because they choose to live in this imbalance. So you're connected to someone, again, that is not giving you attention. They're in avoidance. And again, this is a karmic relationship. Possibly you didn't do everything they wanted you to do. And so there's a sense of them avoiding. So again, dishonesty. I had enough of the lies and deceptions and dishonesty. I will find out about it one way or another. I feel like you feel this way about this person. And I feel like you feel this way about this person because they, again, need to control everything. They're always coming from a place of fear. So it's almost like you have a guilty conscience. And I understand if you're always coming from a place of fear, it doesn't feel good physically. So I am feeling a little bit of addictive behavior. Again, a little self-soothing. So this person can detach even more. So on an emotional level, you're not getting really what you need. And so because you're not getting what you need, you feel like you can't trust this person because you're like, okay, well, are you giving to somebody else? Where it's, again, they're just in avoidance, which is a form of detachment. Okay, one-sided relationship. Yeah, because this person has a hard time, like, again, being vulnerable and opening up and really being in a relationship. Again, this is a second chakra imbalance. Again, I can't go with the flow of life. So everything is one-sided because the person's coming from fear. They only see things through their perception. And so you may say, well, why did I have this person in my life? Again, karmic relationship is teaching you something about yourself. Again, and it could be that just because this is a very spiritual relationship from many, many lifetimes, don't discredit like how they treat you in the here and now. You know, just because we know that that person has feelings, we can feel the spiritual connection. It's still paying attention to like what's happening. Too many times people go super fast into a relationship because they can feel that it's a spiritual connection, but then it winds up being a one-sided relationship because the person feels that they're broken. So they're not really looking at what they're going to do for you. They're looking at how you're going to help them. And so it's not conscious. But this person's detached. So again, being emotionally detached, not giving, would definitely trigger you. Well, are you really here for me? So the archetype that is scrib. So this is someone that, like, again, a scribe, but it came out reversed. That's why I had to turn it around, because when it was like this, but it came out like this, so it's reversed, and there is a reverse meaning on these cards. So like a scribe is someone that preserves knowledge and information, like sees truth and remembers that. This is not someone that like sees truth. What they do is they alter facts and they plagiarize other people's work. So this person doesn't have a true sense of who they are. They don't feel comfortable with who they are, their identity, because again, plagiarizing. Again, this is a second chakra imbalance. If I don't know who I am, I'm going to emulate other people who I want you to perceive that I am. So they're mainly coming from the mask sense of self, and they're altering facts to match that. So they wouldn't let you get that close because of that. They're like trying to maintain the mask that they have. Again, it's like they have wounds. So they want things only from their like one side. I feel like this person hides behind their ego. They hide behind being like self-righteous and being conceited and thinking who they are, because I do feel like they're good looking. I feel like they're good in their business. I feel like they're used to being the one in control. They're used to being the one that has all the power. So again, you challenge that. This is a past life relationship. It doesn't mean that you just learning. It means that they're learning too, and they're learning because you're not the type to put up with it. It's like, but I feel like they would come back in, and they will come back in, and they've always come back in, always pretending to be someone else, almost pretending to be who they think you want them to be, and not really being able to like follow through. So maybe over promising, under delivering is how I take that. But that's because again, their feeling of lack, which person doesn't feel good about themselves, they're not going to let you that close. They're just not going to do it. Okay, let's see another archetype. Oh, another one that came out backwards. Using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as the starving artist to elect pity. So again, this person like is someone that see, artist is normally a positive card, someone that's creating. This person is like, I believe, uses their talent of like being a charmer, being persuasive, being they pretend to be one way and they're again completely the opposite. And so they get people by their, again, to have pity on them. And it's so that they never really have to give. It's like, I do believe that they're smart. I do believe that, again, but their talent is really, again, the way that they talk, the way that they, like, again, they want people to pity who they are. They're like an energy vampire. They're not coming in giving you energy. They're coming in, again, oh, feel sorry for me, this and that, like coming in almost like handicapped. If I come in handicapped, you're going to feel sorry and give me because you're going to think that I can't. So someone that's, comes in handicapped has intimacy problems. They have commitment issues. They want things their way. They want to be in a one-sided relationship. So in a way, like to keep you in a place of being hopeless. It's again activating your wounds of like, where's the time and the attention? It's like you don't want to go with the flow of life. It's like, which is a give and take relationship. You want to control, but then you're going to blame this person. And really, it's like you're going to blame them because they came in handicapped, but they showed you who they were to begin with. So it's about, sometimes we have to make tough choices. Whatever the person is showing you, if they're coming in that way, you have to understand that you teach a person how you want to be treated by what you allow. And you allow this person because, again, they had problems. But the truth of the matter is, if they wanted a certain car, if they wanted a certain possession, if they wanted a travel trip, whatever it was, they wouldn't be coming in broken. People can come in and they show their best self when they're, again, really want something. They're trying to sell you. Again, they're not coming in, oh, take pity on me so that I don't really have to give you anything. They're choosing to take that route. This way, you can never hold them accountable. And that's the problem that I have with this. And that's why it's a karmic relationship. It's the lesson. Do you love yourself? Do you love yourself? Because really, let's look at the hidden truth. Because sometimes a person might not even care. And they're just toying with you, and you could be like, no, I really thought, listen, karmic relationship does mean that there was an instantaneous passion there. They were attracted to you. You were attracted, but the relationship went too fast. It was out of balance. And this person, again, as soon as you were with them, or as soon as, again, the relationship got to a certain point, there was a sense of, I don't want this anymore. So again, you would experience abandonment. You would experience, again, a complete karmic relationship. And karmic, where you learned, well, why did that happen to me? Was this person made me feel like I wasn't good enough? This person made me feel undervalued. This person made me feel, and then spirit would say, well, are you undervaluing yourself? But just because they made you feel this way, what were their hidden truths? Because they could have really cared, or they could not have really cared. Again, either way, it would be a second chakra imbalance. But sometimes it helps us to see the intention. It makes us kind of feel better to see, hey, it was a wound. Even though the behavior was horrible, it wasn't intentional. Now, if it was intentional, you need to run for the hills, because it means the person doesn't care about coming in and messing up your life. Or about your emotional, I love you. So they actually do care. And so this person is, again, now I changed my perception, which is now they actually don't feel good about themselves. So they take the route of coming in handicapped in hopes that, that they would overshoot the mark, but they don't feel good about themselves. I regret lying to you. So they see that this is a soul relationship. And I feel like they wanted to walk away. I feel like they, again, really didn't want to make it work, because this required them to do some shadow work. And part of them was rewriting the script, again, because script came out like reversed. So, which was, again, altering the facts. So they were lying to themselves for a long time about this, and actually blaming you for, again, the disconnection of not making it easy, not going with the flow. But they weren't looking at the situation, again, through a balanced perception. They were only looking at it through their wounded, distorted perception. And so now they feel bad. Now, and I feel like they regret lying because they acted as if they didn't care as much, even though you can feel that there's a strong spiritual connection. And that's the kicker. It's that unconditional love transcends all time and space. This person created a lot of problems, had a lot of wounds. However, it's, again, they thought that they were going to be able to walk away from this connection. They thought that it didn't really matter. And really, they did all this nonsense, and now they're the ones that is needing to humble themselves. We will be together again. So they, again, I'm feeling, are in the process of trying to fix their life and fix, build themselves up. They're not strong in who they are. I feel like, so there are some soul relationships, like you said, that come into our life all to teach. And so I'm feeling like they're not someone that emotionally gets connected to people. Again, somebody that's very logical, linear, left brain, somebody that they normally wouldn't pick to be with. Opposites attract, and this, you and this person is completely opposite. And so again, they wanted to walk away. Their personality is the my way or the highway. They have a problem going with the flow of life. And because they're used to people going with their flow, they blamed you. But now they're actually blaming themselves and seeing it from a different perception, which this is what unconditional love does. This is what a past life karmic relationship, the best case scenario could be, makes us look and see like that we're coming from a place of like with a closed heart, and that this person needed to open up their heart due to, like, again, maybe being in past relationships that have hurt them. Nevertheless, they needed to heal. I want to see, I felt suffocated by how tightly you were holding on to me. I needed to breathe. I feel like, again, this person in the beginning of the relationship has intimacy issues. So the more that you would show feelings, the more that they would shut down. And so they acted like they didn't care. And then, they had a lot of pride, and they tried to walk away, and they tried to alter facts in their mind, and they really can't. But that's when they know, that it's a real divine connection, because it's humbling. It's again, and this is, a like I said, a past life connection. So I want to just look and see what is, again, what is your healing message to it. It's like, because some of you are going to be with this person, some of you are not, but how to deal with the situation, because a lot of times only in the now will you know what to do. And because, again, soul relationship means that your heart and your head is going to fight all the time. And that's because you can't really break away from this type of soul connection, past life connection. We can try and control it, but nevertheless, it's like if two people are suppressing it, but they really want it, you're going to still attract it. You're still not going to be able to control it. Remember, unconditional love, we can't break it. It transcends time and space for a reason. There's a divine connection. So I'm assuming that 90% of you will give this person a chance because of that deep connection. However, again, this is a general collective reading. So don't tell me that sometimes, no, I'm not going to take this person back. I'm saying the majority of people will. And so trust is really, I trust life and my strength. Each moment guides me to the light. Everything on my path is placed there for my growth. So first of all, in order to really be with this person, you're going to have to come to a place of trust. And that would be through finding your balance in the relationship. It's not an all or nothing thing. The person thinks differently than you. They handle life different than you. You have to start right from the beginning, and meaning like you just met this person without any preconceived notions, and you say that's impossible. Well, the only way is if it would be like a friendship. Relationships are something that happen over time. Trust is something that happens over time through this person, showing you who they are, because they do have feelings, they do have love, but it doesn't mean that they didn't do a lot of stuff. They did. They are admitting that they did. But if this is a real soul relationship, it's going to require you to trust. It's also going to obviously require you to forgive. So you may say could be one of the spiritual walks that you have to do, is learn how to forgive. Positive thinking. So it's again, if we want something to work, we're not going to look to see what we're afraid of. We're going to think of the best outcome. We're going to put the best intention to it. And that sometimes is hard if a person has already showed us bad things. But again, you have to get back to a place of trust. And is it possible to get to a place of trust? I believe that it is. I believe unconditional love, a relationship that transcends time and space like this, can again get back to a place of unconditional love. So, how do we heal this shadow? What will we tell our person that again messed up and now realizes that they want to be back in Virgo's life? What is the shadow? What was their shadow? And oh, they weren't really letting you in because they didn't really like who they were. They weren't really their true self. So we want to know again, and they were trying to dummy down the way that they really handled the situation with you. Like that's the way that person talks themselves out of having to apologize or having to take responsibility. But in them taking responsibility, inevitably it made them look at themselves, right? Which is what shadow healing is all about. So what was the whole point? We could say, well, again, defense mechanism. So again, their defense mechanism was automatically to shut down. Defense mechanisms are unconscious strategies used to distance us from anxieties and perceived threats. Some examples include rationalizing, distorting facts, which is what we said again, dummying down, like saying like it wasn't really that bad. It wasn't, it's again like projecting, blaming, which is what we said here. This person blamed, and they also distorted facts, which again, that was their defense mechanism to not have to look at, again, their shadow. So that's why this person didn't come back around. It was their ego. So we say, okay, so what does a person do to heal? Well, it says create for any unhealthy defense mechanism, mindfulness. So this person would need to learn how to be more grounded. And that would be through breath work, through body mind work, through again, retraining the nervous system to be in the here and now. Because what happens with the trigger is we get triggered, we go out of consciousness. This person, again, got triggered because, again, they're used to everything, everyone going along with them. And when you didn't, again, they again projected a lot of their wounds onto you. And so understand, like the way that they would have to see is when they got triggered to project, like to put the blame on you instead of to come to that, automatic response and then shut down. It would be to like breathe, get back in the moment, and then talk it out or journal it out. So their feelings out, because it's almost like this person that gets so many feelings, they don't know what they feel. And that's really a trigger, is a person that is getting overstimulated. They're feeling like they're losing control, which is what this person, again, has a problem with when people get too close. They feel as if they are going to lose control. So again, a tight chest, throat, sweaty palms, pounding heart. Remind yourself that in these moments, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. If you can step away from the situation until you feel calmer, that's the most important thing to do. Because again, your choice of focus is your greatest tool when you are dealing with a trigger. You want to be able to, again, feel the emotion and process what's going on, but you don't want to be fixated on it. Is that otherwise it's like you just ruminate on the same thing over and over and over again, and all that does is overstimulate you to a place of like being emotionally tired, like soul tired is what I'm meaning to say. So one thing that you can do to heal is write, and which what I said. Too many emotions overstimulate. I don't know what I'm feeling. This is what happens with your person. So it's again, When you recognize an unhealthy defense mechanism kicking in, try to get to the root of what you are really trying to achieve through this behavior. What do you really want? Need in a situation. You want to write it down. And also you could do a re you could do a there's a lot of other exercises like reparenting exercise. You could do inner child exercise. You could do, there's a lot of different, there's cognitive exercises. There's the reframing one is the best one because you go back into the situation that original trigger had happened, and you bring yourself back to that place, to those feelings. And then you're able to then really look at the situation through the here and now and see the difference, notice the difference. Because a lot of times, again, the child self, which is the wounded self, is really what's reacting, and we're not even conscious anymore to that behavior. So writing is really important because this person, again, is always going to have trust issues. Trust issues are intimacy issues. And over time, intimacy issues create disconnect. So again, and if I'm so disconnected, I'm not really going to remember what happened or how I dealt with it. And I'm going to remember things from my perspective. Now, for your healing, because again, I talked about your person's healing, what you would need to do for your healing would be, let's see, we're going to close out with 2 cards. So we'll see what you have to do. Okay, God. See, God, number 1, and and I'll get to that part. And these are your healings, Virgo, what to deal with this situation. We just mentioned what your person would have to do. Okay, what you would have to do is, again, one step at a time. So again, if you want to be with this person, it's like let go and let God. Understand that it's a divine connection. Divine connection is that this person came into your life to teach you something. That means that they're not perfect. You're not perfect. And if you want, it's to like follow the laws of God, the laws of the universe. And why I say the laws of God, it's because God says, love me first. I'm a jealous God. But we do that through loving ourselves first, because spirit resides within us. Taking care of yourself, that means taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, which might mean working out, doing meditation, hanging out with friends, going off to work, investing in yourself. Then there's only certain much time you can give to this person. And as I said, trust happens over time. You can take it one day at a time. Because this is a soul relationship, and it is one that is very spiritual. It's for deep, deep, deep healing. And which means, again, there is unconditional love, but you will also be taught patience, perseverance, forgiveness, all the spiritual traits that elevate your consciousness, that shift you out of a place of fear into a Christ consciousness, which is this unconditional love, which then when you become the vibration of unconditional love, you're attracting who and what is really supposed to come into your life. And I believe that this person is a karmic mate. However, do I believe that they're a forever mate? I don't know. If you evolve more, most likely not, unless this person evolves at the same rate. But were they supposed to be in your life at this time? Absolutely. Because when someone comes into our life that triggers us, that makes us look at our wounds, it makes us take responsibility. It makes us heal and integrate so that we become more whole. So we become more of a vessel for God to work through. And this is really what Spirit's saying. It's like, understand that the relationship, that you're me in physical form. However, you have shadows, and those shadows block you from that divinity, that supernatural power of that you have because I'm inside of you, that you're not able to access your true essence, all of your essence, because of these blocks. So it's again, one step at a time. It's not all or nothing. The relationship is one of those paradox relationships. It's teaching you all about balance while healing you and transforming you. And so, is it not for now? Absolutely. I'm going to leave that there, Virgo. You let me know if you resonated with this. And if you did, let me know. Give me a like, comment, always subscribe to the channel. And if you want to enter winning a free reading with me, all you gotta do is write the word of the day, and the word today is going to be tactlessness. You can put that word right in your comment bar. You'll know if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. If I did, you and I will just correspond back and forth on YouTube. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.